What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of Latest on Sports Podcast, where, as you can see from the title, today we're going to be going over my Week 3 Power Rankings. Sorry we could not get a Week 2 Power Rankings out to you guys. If you guys follow us on Instagram, which you should, at Latest on Sports Podcast, you'll know that both me and the co-owner of LOS Podcast, we both are in school right now, and we're both in football, which takes up a lot of our time. And so sometimes the schedules don't align and we can't get things done as we wish we could. But also, one more thing, sorry if I sound a little congested or if my throat sounds a little scratchy. I'm recovering from a cold right now. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's kick it off with number 32. This one's a no-brainer, the Dolphins. Not much to say here. They took a beating from Dallas. That's all I got to say about the Dolphins. Number 31, this is going to be a surprise. It's a lot lower than most people have them, but I got the Denver Broncos here at 31. I really think that they're not going to do anything with Joe Flacco at quarterback. Drew Lock, to me, should be the starter this upcoming week. And so, unless Drew Lock is in at quarterback and Joe Flacco stays in, I don't see them really winning many games this season. Next at 30, we've got the Jets, led by Luke Falk, who is a third-string quarterback and someone I'm not impressed by. The Jets have got a lot of talent on defense. They've got bits and pieces of the puzzle, but they've got to put it together to win games. Next, we've got the Cardinals, led by number 1 pick Kyler Murray. Without Patrick Peterson, they've got the worst secondary in the NFL. I know you've got Budda Baker in there, but that's really where it ends. The Cardinals just need to improve on defense and really the offensive line before I can consider them a sort of challenger in the NFC. Next at 28, we've got the Steelers, who a season ago you would have thought they were Super Bowl contenders with Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown. Then Le'Veon Bell held out, then Antonio Brown went rogue in Week 16, and they lost both of those players in the offseason. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, the final part of that big three, is out for the season. Mason Rudolph didn't look terrible, but he did not look great either. So the Steelers, to me, are not a team that I see competing, and they're going to get a good pick, and let's hope that they can turn things around. Actually, I take that back. They're not going to get a good pick because they traded their pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick, which I'll get into that trade right now. I think that the Steelers lost that trade. I think that the pick that they were going to receive was going to be a pick that is a little too high to value a corner. And so I also didn't think that was the Steelers' number 1 need. So I think that trading the first pick may have been a good idea, but I don't think Minkah Fitzpatrick was the right trade. Anyways, on to 27, we've got the Oakland Raiders. They looked really, really strong in Week 1 versus the Broncos. But as you heard earlier, the Broncos are my number 31 team, so not impressed by that. Josh Jacobs is looking like a promising rookie. I believe I think he's number 4 in the league in rushing yards right now, or maybe number 5, which is impressive, but not enough for them to win games. On to number 26, we've got the Redskins, who took a beating from the Bears on Monday Night Football. This, to me, again, is going to yield a quarterback change. I don't think Case Keenum is really going to lead them anywhere. And let's hope Haskins, who they got at the number 15 selection, can come out and win games. On to 25, we've got the Bucs, who missed what should have been a game-winning field goal against Daniel Jones' debut. The Buccaneers, had they have won that game, I would have had them a little bit higher, but the fact that they couldn't come through and pull out the win is the reason they're at 25. 24 Bengals, I've got them a lot higher than most people. They almost beat the Bills, who I have pretty high on here in the top 10. And so the Bills are a really good football team, 3-0. The Bengals narrowly lost to the Seahawks, who are another really good football team. So the Bengals have been close. Andy Dalton's second in the league in passing yards. So the Bengals, I think, have just got to finish games, and they'll keep raising. 23, as I alluded to earlier, we've got the Giants, led by Daniel Jones. I actually started Daniel Jones on my fantasy team this week when he had 32 or 34 points, led me to the win. Awesome, love it. Daniel Jones is finally getting some sort of respect after being arguably the most controversial pick. You could argue that maybe Cleveland Farrell by the Raiders at 4 was more controversial. But nevertheless, Daniel Jones looked really, really good this week. On the 22, we've got the Titans, who lost miserably on Thursday night to the Gardner Minshew-led Jaguars. Gardner Minshew looks legit. The Titans do not. 21, we've got the Eagles, who everyone wants them to be good, but I never really had them that high to begin with coming into the season. They've disappointed me and disappointed me and disappointed me. On the 20, we've got the Panthers, led by Kyle Allen, who threw 4 touchdown passes against the Cardinals. Not sure if I'm impressed by that or not. Well, obviously I'm impressed, but I'm not sure if we should be as impressed because, as I said about the Cardinals, they have the worst secondary in the NFL when Patrick Peterson is not in. So, Kyle Allen looked legit. Let's see if he can do it against a better defense. 19, we've got the Browns, a lot lower than what people have them, but the Browns 1 and 2 are disappointing me. They've got all the pieces. Baker Mayfield was supposed to be an MVP. You know, they've got an explosive offense with Odell Beckham, David Njoku, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt coming back in week 8 or week 9. So, for me, the Browns need to prove it. They've got all the hype, but they're not winning games. Number 18, we've got the Jaguars, led by Gardner Minshew, arguably the most fan favorite player in the NFL. I wish nothing but the best for the Jaguars moving forward, even though they're in my favorite team's division. But let's hope they can keep winning games. This is a franchise that saw them 2 years ago go to the AFC Championship game, and after a debatable pass interference call, ended up not going to the Super Bowl. So the Jaguars could use a little bit of hope as a franchise. On to number 17, we've got the Falcons, who took a loss to the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. The Falcons lost Keanu Neal with what I believe is an Achilles injury, which is a huge blow to the Falcons secondary. They missed Keanu Neal significantly last year with the ACL injury, and unfortunately, it's not looking very good for the Falcons and Keanu Neal. 16, we've got the Chargers. I want to rank the Chargers higher, but they should be 0-3. Week 1 against the Colts, Adam Vinatieri left 7 points on the field. The game went to overtime. Chargers win. They should have lost that game. They lost against the Lions, and now they just lost against the Texans. And this was a team that I was very high on coming into the season. And everyone's saying, Melvin Gordon, who? They've got Austin Eckler. But right now, I think they need Melvin Gordon pretty dang bad. Number 15, we've got Houston, who defeated the Chargers on Sunday. The Texans, they looked good in some aspects. You know, we saw pieces of their team that looked really well. You know, sometimes their offensive line looked like, holy cow, it's a top 5 offensive line. And then there's some times where we're really questioning if Deshaun Watson can play a whole season with that type of protection. So the Texans really are a team that's going to be interesting to watch because they could really boom as they did last year with that giant winning streak after starting 0-3, or they could continue down the path that they're going. Number 14, we've got the Seahawks. The Seahawks I'm not convinced by. This is a team that I'm kind of concerned. As I talked about the Bengals, they barely beat the Bengals week 1. Chris Carson has lost a fumble in every single game so far this season, and they just lost to the Teddy Bridgewater-led Saints, which, don't let that fool you. Teddy Bridgewater is a very good quarterback, and the Saints are very star-studded. But this is a game that, in my opinion, the Seahawks needed to prove it and should have won, which was in Seattle. On to 13, this is a team I have a lot higher than everybody else. The Lions. The Lions are undefeated. While they are not 3-0, they're 2-0-1. That one tie being against the Cardinals in week 1. The Lions beat the Chargers, who was a really talented team. I believe that was last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry. And so the Lions, for me, are an undefeated team, and I think that speaks for itself. Number 12, we've got the Colts, who Jacoby Brissett looked really good on Sunday. Obviously, he's not an Andrew Luck caliber quarterback, and not many are, but I don't think that the Colts are really a team that's going to just let that get in front of them. I think they're going to move on, and as they've been doing, they're 2-1, and as I talked about in the Chargers game, Adam Vinatieri left 7 points on the field. So they're an extra point away, essentially, from being 3-0. But obviously they've got to finish games. Adam Vinatieri's got to finish his kicking. Just got to get better all around before I see them move into top 10. Number 11, we've got the Bears, who opened up Club Dub Monday night versus the Redskins. Trubisky threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half, but then started to mellow out after. He was, 20 for 23 in the first half, which was extremely impressive. But the Bears just have to prove more to me on offense. Their defense was insane. They had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and a load of sacks. Their defense is going to win them games, but I want to see their offense win them games, right? I want to see them go against a team like the Chiefs and not necessarily shut down their defense, but the Bears offense proved more to me against a higher caliber team and get the win. Number 10, we've got the Vikings, which to me is maybe a little bit low. You could argue right in front of them I have the 49ers. I think those ones are interchangeable, but the Vikings are a really good team. Dalvin Cook is looking insane, leads the league in rushing yards by a wide margin, and I think the recipe for success is just hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook and let Kirk Cousins make easy throws and not make Kirk Cousins win you games. The defense is looking really good, and for me, the Vikings are a team to watch as a wild card contender because I think the Packers will end up winning the division. As I said earlier, number 9, we've got the 49ers, who are undefeated. For me, I don't want to rank them this high, but they're undefeated, so I feel like I kind of have to. They blew out Tampa Bay in week 2, and Garoppolo is really just a quarterback that I'm not sold on yet. That year where he came to San Francisco, he won them a couple games and then became the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which to me seemed like a premature contract extension. So Garoppolo's got to live up to the hype and to the big money that the organization paid him before I really am sold on this team. But their defense is looking really good. They've got, I think, 4 first-rounders on their defensive line, which is crazy. So their defense is winning them a lot of games. But as I said about the Bears, their offense needs to show me more before I can really keep ranking them higher and higher. Number 8, we've got the undefeated Bills, who narrowly defeated the Bengals on Sunday. Josh Allen looked poised. Sometimes you really question where he was going with the ball. But regardless, they are 3-0, and I think they are a legit team and a legit wild card in the AFC. On to number 7, we've got the Ravens, who took a tough loss to the Chiefs, but they held in there. Lamar Jackson looked really, really good. Really, I think it was just a game that they weren't expected to win, but if they did win it, it was an eye-opener for the entire league. Like, watch out, the Ravens are a legit team. So I don't have the Ravens in the top 5 like a lot of people do, but the Ravens are still up there at number 7. Number 6, we've got the Saints. They dropped a little bit for me because obviously Drew Brees is out, but Teddy Bridgewater did not show me a reason to not believe they were a top 10 team, so that's why I've got them at 6. Kamara is an absolute beast. Number 5, we've got the Rams, who defeated the Browns on Sunday night, I believe. And the Rams looked really good. Cooper Kupp looked amazing. And really, I don't know what else to say about the Rams. They're a really, really good team, but just not better than these other 4 I've got in front of them. Now, number 4, I've got the Packers. I am completely sold on the Packers. I was not at the beginning of the season after they went 5-10-1, but now I am sold. Their defense is insanely good. Their pressure off the edge from Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith earned them 5 sacks versus the Broncos, who I have ranked 31, so I'm not sure if that's impressive or not. But Rodgers, obviously, you can't count him out as a quarterback. He's still an elite tier quarterback. They've got Devontae Adams, who's an amazing receiver, who, if you watch my stat leader projection, I have him leading the league in touchdowns, and Aaron Jones, who is a legit running back. So all the pieces together, the Packers are a very, very good team, and I've got them at number 4. Number 3, I've got the Cowboys. Zeke is finally looking back to his old self. And who needs Zeke when you have Tony Pollard rushing for 100 yards anyways? Then again, it was against the number 32 Dolphins, but I don't care. When you've got 2 running backs rushing for 100 yards in a given game, that is insane. On to number 2, we've got the Chiefs, who for me, this one is, I think you could debate them with the Cowboys because I would have liked to see them win by a bigger margin versus the Ravens. But nevertheless, they did win, and the Ravens are a legit team, and Patrick Mahomes is still looking like an MVP. So for me, it's hard to count them out. On to number 1, obviously, that's the only team that's left, the Patriots. They haven't showed me anything to believe that any other team is better than them. Tom Brady looks like he's 30 instead of whatever he is, 42. So the Patriots atop of the league, Dolphins at the bottom. Starts and begins with the AFC East. So thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you have a great rest of your time. And please consider subscribing and liking the video and commenting any other ideas that you'd want us to see. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.